While you've been sitting here, somebody died. Not in a movie. A real person somewhere took their last breath about a minute and a half ago. You didn't know them, you'll never know their name, and here's the part that should mess with you a little more than it does. Tomorrow, you'll wake up, make your coffee, get annoyed at traffic, and that person's whole life, everything they wanted, everyone they loved, every night they couldn't sleep because of that one thing, won't cross your mind for even a second. You'll be like they were never here. Now flip it, because that's the easy version, the one where it happens to somebody else. Here's the hard one. When it's your turn, and it's going to be your turn, how many lives actually stop? Not slow down, not get sad for a bit. Actually stop. And a few weeks later, how many of those people are basically back to normal? Yeah, I know, that one lands funny in the stomach. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. But stick with me, because I'm taking you all the way to the bottom of that feeling, and I promise there's something down there worth finding, something most people are too scared to look at their whole lives. Everything I mention's linked below. Let's go. Here's the thing nobody says out loud. Pretty much every human who's ever lived is pretty dead certain they're the main character. And of course you are. To you, you've been staring out of your own eyeballs since the day you were born, and you've never spent one single second being anybody else. So your brain pulls this sneaky little move. It figures that because everything happens to you, everything must sort of be about you. So you plan out the next 20 years like the universe is holding your table. You collect stuff, you chase little wins, you defend your pride like it's made of gold. You build and build like you're making something that sticks around. And I just need you to look at where all this is happening. You're standing on a rock. A big one, sure, but a rock. And that rock is going around a totally average star, not a special one, a boring one of a few 100 billion boring ones just in our neighborhood. And our neighborhood, this thing so massive that light itself needs 100,000 years just to get across it, is one of maybe 2 trillion neighborhoods out there. 2 trillion. And your brain just went, yeah, okay, whatever, and slid right off that number, which is exactly why I'm going to make you feel it instead. Picture a beach. Not a cute little beach, one that goes on in every direction, further than you can see, forever. Now reach down and grab 1 grain of sand, 1. Hold it up and ask yourself, honestly, if that grain just poofed out of existence right now, would anybody know? Would some guy walking the beach stop and go, wait, hang on, there was a grain right here, where'd it go? Come on, it's a ridiculous thing to even imagine. And that grain against the whole beach? That's flattering you, that's you looking good. Because there are more stars out there than there are grains of sand on every beach on the entire planet. Every single one. Every shore, every desert, every sad little sandbox at every playground. There are more stars than all of that. So you're not the grain against the beach, you're the grain against every beach that has ever existed, times a number so big it stops meaning anything. That's the actual size of the thing you're standing in. And this is where a lot of people go, great, thanks, I feel like garbage now, and click away. But hold on, because this is the first place people get it dead wrong. Being small in size is not the same as being small in worth. You still matter like crazy to the handful of people who love you. That's real, and I'm not taking it. It's just that the universe runs on a scale where your size, physically, literally, rounds down to 0. 2 totally different things. Hang on to that, we need it later. But size was the easy floor to fall through. Time's worse. Okay, here's a little trick, and it'll get under your skin. Take the whole history of the universe, all of it, and squish it down into one single year. New Year's Day, midnight. That's the Big Bang. And right now, this exact second is the last tick before midnight on December 31st. So where does all the human stuff go on that year? The dinosaurs don't even show up till like the day after Christmas. All of them, their entire run on Earth, the last few days of December. And every single thing a human being has ever written down, every war, every king, every empire, every book, every love song, all of it, all of history, fits into the last few seconds before midnight. Not the last day, the last few seconds. And you? Your whole life, your 80 years if you get lucky, every birthday, every heartbreak, every boring Tuesday you'll ever have, you don't even get a second. You get a flicker, less than a blink. And here's why that should genuinely rearrange something in your head. You spend years, actual years of that flicker stressing about what people think of you, grinding yourself into dust for a job title that'll be forgotten before your grandkids grow up, holding grudges, lugging resentment around like a second job, putting off the phone call, the apology, the hug, the trip, the thing you actually want to do, telling yourself you'll get to it like you've got forever stacked up in the bank. You don't have forever. You've barely got a minute. And the universe has never once made an exception, not for anybody. Think of the most powerful person in history you can name. Alexander the Great had the whole known world on a leash before he turned 33. Where's he now? Emperors, kings with whole months named after them, the richest people who ever drew breath, every single one of them walked through the exact same door you're walking toward, and most of them didn't even get their name scratched into a rock. The clock didn't blink for one of them. And look, let me actually prove it, because Alexander's a cheap shot. Everybody's heard of Alexander. Obviously, he didn't vanish. His name's right there. So here's the real one. There was a Roman emperor named Vitellius, ran the entire empire, the whole machine, most powerful man alive, armies at his word, people literally bowing when he walked by. And I would bet my house you have never heard that name before in your life. He ran Rome for about 8 months. It all fell apart, they dragged him through the streets and killed him, and today he's a little footnote historian skim pass to get to the good emperors. That guy was #1 human on planet Earth, and he's so forgotten that I had to go looking for a forgotten emperor to find him, which is honestly the most insulting way to be remembered there is. Ah yes, we needed an example of a nobody, and there he was, perfect. And here's the kicker. That's the good outcome. That's the guy who ran an empire and still got a paragraph. You and me, we're not getting the paragraph. We get 3 or 4 people who genuinely miss us, a couple of decent stories at the funeral, and then the slow fade to nothing. Your great-grandkids won't know your face. And say this one with me. Calm, no panic. Somewhere out there is the very last person who will ever say your name out loud. They haven't even been born yet. And when they do it, they won't know it's the last time. That's not a threat, that's just the schedule. Everybody's on it, even the emperor. But here's the part people miss, and it's the whole point, so don't. The old philosophers, the Stoics especially, made a habit of thinking about their own death every single day. And everybody assumes that's morbid, that these were gloomy guys obsessed with dying. It's the exact opposite. They did it because once you actually get how short your time is, you stop wasting it trying to look immortal. You stop spending the flicker pretending you've got the whole year. Now, quick detour, because I've spent 5 minutes making you feel like a speck, and I want to be fair here. There's one fact that flips this whole thing upside down, and nobody tells you about it because it won't fit on a coffee mug. Ready? You're not standing on the universe. You are the universe. Actually, the iron in your blood, the metal literally carrying oxygen around your body right now, was made inside a star. Not as a nice metaphor, a real star, billions of years ago, ran out of gas, collapsed, and blew itself to pieces. And the guts of that dead star, the calcium that turned into your teeth, the carbon in every cell you've got, went flying across space, drifted around for basically forever, and eventually clumped together into a rock, some water, and one very confused mammal who'd one day watch this video and check how many likes his last post got. That's you. You're what happens when a star dies and the leftovers get ambitious. And there's this line people love, "We're made of star stuff," and it gets repeated so much it's turned into a fridge magnet and you've stopped actually hearing it. So hear it fresh. The universe didn't build you and set you down inside itself like a toy in a room. You are the universe, this one little handful of it that got put together into a shape complicated enough to look back at the rest of it and go, huh, that's not nothing. That's the least nothing thing that's ever happened. A rock got curious, dust started asking questions. And yeah, I know that doesn't pay your rent and it won't fix your bad knee, but hold it right next to the grain of sand, because both things are true at the same time. You are unbelievably tiny, and you're the cosmos briefly waking up to look at itself. And if you can hold both of those in your head at once without your brain filing for divorce, you're already ahead of most people walking around out there. And I want to sit on this a second longer because it's genuinely the best news you're going to get today. Go back to the very start, not your start, the start. Right after the Big Bang, the whole universe was pretty much the two most boring ingredients possible: hydrogen and helium. That's it. That's the whole fridge. If the universe had tried to make you on day one with what it had, you'd be a faint gas with a bad attitude. There is no carbon, no oxygen, no iron, no calcium. None of the stuff you're actually built out of didn't exist yet. So where'd it come from? Stars made it. A star is basically a giant furnace mashing light stuff into heavier stuff under insane pressure. And when a big one finally dies, it flings all that hard-won material out into space. Every atom in your body heavier than the boring 2 got cooked inside a star that died before Earth was even a thing. Sit with that. The oxygen going into your lungs right this second, made in a star. The carbon in the pen you're chewing and the hand that's chewing it, star. The calcium in the teeth your dentist keeps guilt-tripping you about, forged in an exploding sun, survived the death of that sun, drifted across the dark for billions of years, and ended up as the thing you'll one day get a cavity in. Your body is a graveyard of dead stars that learn to walk around and complain about Mondays. And here's the joke the universe is quietly playing on all of us, and it's a good one. You've spent your whole life feeling separate from everything. You versus the world. You in here, everything else out there. And it was never true, not for 1 second. There's no line where the universe stops and you start. You're not a visitor. You're not a guest. You're the actual material of the cosmos that got briefly convinced it's a guy with a name and a to-do list. The atoms don't know your name either, by the way. They were here long before you borrowed them, and they're getting returned, every last one. And they'll go be dirt and trees and somebody else's teeth long after you're done with them. So you're not going to vanish when you die. That's the thing nobody mentions. You're going to get recycled, which is either the most terrifying thing you've ever heard or the most comforting. And honestly, which one it is completely up to you, and that choice is pretty much the whole point of this video. So, we took your size, we took your time. You'd think that's rock bottom. It isn't, because there's still one thing you're gripping, and it's the one you're most sure is actually yours. Your stuff. And I don't just mean money, though I mean that too. I mean everything you've quietly stamped with the word mine. There's something almost sweet about how hard humans collect things. We stack up money, buy houses, chase the bigger car, the better title, the fatter bank account, and we call it being responsible, being secure. And look, some of it is. You gotta eat, you need a roof. I'm not gonna stand here and tell you money doesn't matter when you're hungry. That's a lie, and a rude one. But be honest about how far past that line most of the collecting goes. There's an old story, and it hits harder than any statistic I could throw at you. A rich guy's farm has this monster harvest, way more than he can store. So he goes, all right, I'll knock down my barns, build bigger ones, pack it all away, and then I can finally kick back for years. And that same night, a voice goes, you idiot, tonight your life is up. All this stuff you saved, whose is it now? That's the whole story. And it's brutal because it's true. You call a house yours, but before you, it was somebody else's, and after you, it's somebody else's, and the house doesn't know your name. You call your body yours, but it's aging right now, this second, without asking you, and one day it's handing in its resignation whether you're ready or not. You call your time yours, but it's leaking out even while you sleep. Try to hold any of it, and it's like trying to grab a fistful of fog. From the outside, all the collecting looks like being smart, being a planner. But a lot of the time, if you're honest, it's just fear in a nicer outfit. It's the terror of disappearing, and we fight it by piling up proof that we were here. More stuff, more money, bigger barns, like the pile can hold the door shut. It can't. Never could. Nobody in the entire history of everything has ever bought their way out of the one appointment we all keep. But there's a floor under the stuff, and it's the one people never see coming because it's dressed up as the good part of life. It's the people. Because when you clear away the money and the barns and the job title, the thing you're really clutching, the one you actually can't stand to lose, is the people you love. And I'm gonna walk you into this one slowly because it's got teeth. Picture the person you love most in the world. Got him? Good. Now here's the deal nobody printed on the box. One of two things is happening. Either you're gonna stand at their grave or they're gonna stand at yours. That's it. Those are the only two doors. There's no secret third one where you both just go on forever holding hands and skip the whole thing. Every relationship you've ever had or ever will have ends in a goodbye. And the only thing up for grabs is who says it first and who's left standing in the quiet after. And I'm not telling you this to wreck your afternoon. I'm telling you because we live like it's not true. We put off the call. We stay mad for 3 years over something we can't even remember right. We sit in the same room as someone we love and scroll right past them like they're a screensaver, like there's an unlimited supply of ordinary Tuesdays with that person. When the actual, whole, honest truth is there's a final one coming, and you almost definitely won't know it's the last one while it's happening. There's a final time you hug your mom, a final chat with your oldest friend, a last time your kid is small enough to fall asleep on your chest. And the cruel part, and the merciful part at the exact same time, is that these last times don't announce themselves. They just happen, and then quietly become the last one in the rear view. Now here's where it gets darker before it gets lighter, because it's not just that they leave or you leave, it's the forgetting. Think about your great-great-grandmother. That woman was real as you are right now. She had a song stuck in her head, a laugh that drove her siblings nuts, a fear she never told a single soul, a whole entire universe running behind her eyes, every bit as loud and urgent and central as yours feels to you this second. And you don't know her name. You don't know her face. You don't know one thing she ever said. She's completely gone, not just from the world, but from memory itself. And she's only 4 steps back from you. 4. And here's the part you'll want to look away from, so don't. That's exactly what you are to your own great-great-grandkids. A blank. A name on some document nobody opens. Maybe a photo somebody scrolls past without stopping. The whole roaring, desperately important story of your life squashed down to nothing in about the time it takes a house to need 2 new roofs. And when I say that out loud, the ego panics. It goes, no, I'll be different, I'll do something big, I'll get remembered. And that's the trap. That's the whole trap we've been circling this entire time. Because chasing the getting remembered, is exactly what makes people miss the actual person right in front of them, warm and breathing and here, in favor of some imaginary crowd of strangers in the future who were never going to remember them anyway. You want to be remembered by people who don't exist yet, and to pull it off, you ignore the people who do. Read that twice. That is the single dumbest trade a human being can make, and nearly all of us are making it, a little every day. So here's the flip, and it's the only sane thing to do about any of this. If the people are temporary, and they are, then them being here right now isn't some small thing you'll get to later. It's the whole thing. It's the entire prize. The fact that it ends isn't the bug, it's the reason it's precious. Nobody cries because a diamond won't dissolve, but the sunset gets you every single time. And the only difference is the sunset is leaving. That's it. That's the only difference. The love you've got for people is exactly as valuable as it is because you're gonna lose it. Take away the ending and you take away the weight. So the move is not to protect yourself from the goodbye by loving people a little less, holding them at arm's length so it stings less later. That's the coward's insurance plan, and it doesn't even pay out. You just get the loss without the love. The move is the opposite. Let the shortness of it make you pay attention. Make the call, have the conversation, be in the room with your face up and your phone down. Because the version of you on your own deathbed, the one we're getting to in a minute, is not going to wish you'd answered more emails. They're going to wish you looked at the people you loved a little longer while they were still there to look at. So that's your stuff gone and your people pulled in closer. And now we're close to the bottom, but there's one last thing you're holding, and this is the one you'll fight hardest for because you're sure it's the realest thing about you. It's you, the self, the I. This is the big one. This is the illusion that's so hard to see through, most people never even try. Almost all your suffering, and I mean the deep stuff, the kind that keeps you up at 3 a.m., comes from defending something you can't actually point to. You spend your life protecting a name, an image, a reputation. You want to be admired, remembered, respected. You work harder than you need to just to stack up little symbols that say you matter. You feel that hot flash of jealousy when somebody else gets ahead. You lie awake stressing about the opinions of people who, let's be real, are going to be gone in a few decades too, judging you from inside their own little flicker. And here's the trap, the really nasty design of it. The bigger your ego gets, the more breakable your whole life becomes. One bit of criticism and your week is ruined. One money hit and an identity you spent 20 years building just falls over. You get older, your face changes, and you feel like you're personally disappearing, vanishing along with your own reflection. But here's the question almost nobody's got the nerve to ask. If everything you use to describe yourself can be taken away, was any of it ever actually you? Your body, it's not even the same body you had 10 years ago. Nearly every cell's been swapped out. You are physically a different object than you used to be, and you didn't notice them make the switch. Your ideas change. The stuff you desperately wanted at 20 makes you cringe at 40. Your memories fade and bend and quietly rewrite themselves, and you never once catch them doing it. So what exactly is this rock-solid, permanent self that has to win, has to own, has to be remembered forever? Where is it? Point at it. You can't, because it was never a thing. It was a story, a really good story. One you've been telling yourself so long and so convincingly you forgot you're the one making it up. And look, I'm not saying you're nobody. I'm saying the specific you you're so busy defending is a lot more like a rumor than a fact. Think about it. Who are you when literally nobody's watching? Not the version you do at work, not the one you snap into the second your phone camera flips around and your face does that thing, not the highlight reel you post and then check 40 times to see who liked it. Strip all of it off. The audience, the performance, the little unpaid manager in your head running your PR department, and what's actually under there. Most people have honestly never met that guy. They've been so busy being watched or imagining they're being watched that they've never once sat alone in a room with themselves without a phone to hide behind. That's the funny part, in a bleak sort of way. You'll fight to the death to protect your reputation, your image, what people think of you. And what people think of you lives entirely inside other people's heads, most of whom are barely thinking about you at all because they're too busy guarding their own rumor. It's a room full of people, every single one convinced everybody else is staring at them, and not one of them is looking up. That's society. That's the whole anxious machine. Everybody guarding a self that turns out to be a story other people aren't even reading. Now here's where I stop philosophizing and hand you actual data, because there's a woman who accidentally did the most important research on all this without even meaning to. Her name's Bronnie Ware, and she spent years working in palliative care, which is the polite way of saying she sat with people in the last few weeks of their lives, over and over, hundreds of times. And she started noticing something. When people are actually at the door, when the game is genuinely up and there's no reason left to lie or perform or pretend, the same regrets kept coming up. So she wrote them down. And I want you to notice what's completely missing from the list. Not one single person at the very end said, "I wish I'd been more famous." Nobody said, "I wish more strangers had known my name." Nobody said, "I wish I'd built a bigger barn." The number one regret, the one that came up the most, was this: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life other people expected of me. Read that again. At the finish line, clock finally out of time, what haunts people is not that they didn't matter to the universe, it's that they spent their one flicker performing for an audience, living somebody else's script, being the rumor instead of the person. They didn't regret being small, they regretted being fake. Other big ones? I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I'd let myself be happier, which a scary number of them only figured out at the very end was a choice, a thing they could have just picked and didn't. Look at that list. Every single thing on it is free. Not one costs money. Not one needs you to be remembered by history or conquer anything or win. They're all just permission slips people forgot to sign for themselves until it was too late to hand them in. And here's why this ties into everything we've been doing. The ego, that self we spent this whole video taking apart, is the exact thing that writes the fake life. It's the part of you terrified of what people think, chasing approval, building the image, keeping score. It's the audience you're performing for, living rent-free in your own skull. And these people, right at the end, are all saying the same thing in different words. I wish I'd stopped performing sooner. I wish I'd let the audience go while I still had time to actually live. So you don't have to wait for the deathbed to get the memo. That's the gift here. You're getting the notes from the people who already sat the final exam, and they're all telling you the answer, right now, while you've still got time to use it. Drop the performance. The universe was never in the audience. It was never even in the room. And now I've got to take away the last thing, the very last one, because there's a quiet little comfort you've been holding this whole time without even noticing, and it's time to look at it. The comfort is this. Somewhere in the back of your head, even while I've been stripping everything away, a small voice has been going, okay, fine, I'm small, I'm brief, I'll be forgotten, but at least the universe keeps going. At least the stars keep burning. At least the show goes on after I leave. There's something cozy about that, right? The idea you're a tiny part of some magnificent thing that lasts forever? I'm sorry. I really am. But it doesn't. The universe is dying too. Not soon, not fast, but just as surely as you are. Right now, everywhere, stars are burning through their fuel, and there's only so much of it, and when it's gone, it's gone. New stars are still being born, but slower and slower every stretch of time, because the raw material's running out. Eventually, the last star flickers and dies, and then there's no more. The lights go out, one by one across the whole thing, over spans of time so long that your entire species, from the first cave to the last human ever, is a rounding error inside a rounding error. And after the stars, it keeps going. The dead leftovers get swallowed by black holes, and then even the black holes, over stretches of time your brain can't hold, slowly fizzle away into nothing. And what you're left with, at the actual end of it all, is cold, dark, empty space, with the lights off and nobody around to notice, spreading out forever, getting colder and emptier until nothing can ever happen again. And they call it the heat death of the universe, which is a genuinely hilarious name because there's no heat in it at all. That's the whole point. It's the opposite. It's the final cold. So here's the situation you're actually in, laid out with nothing left to soften it. You're a temporary pile of borrowed stardust on a rock orbiting a dying star in a forgettable corner of space inside a universe that's itself winding down toward a dark and permanent silence. That's the full picture. That's the bottom of the bottom. There's no cozy bigger thing that outlives you. The bigger thing is dying too. And I dragged you all the way down here to the floor under all the other floors for one reason. Because I need you to see that if you were waiting on permanence from anywhere, at any size, from your body or your name or the people you love or your whole species or the literal stars in the sky, you are always, always going to get let down. Permanence was never on the menu. Not for you, not for anybody, not for anything. It's not that you got a bad deal. It's that the deal you were mad about not getting was never real in the first place. Nobody gets it. The stars don't get it. And the second you actually feel that all the way down, something weird happens. The disappointment's got nowhere left to stand because you can't get cheated out of something that was never possible for anyone. The whole grievance just dissolves. Now let me tell you about the people who felt everything I've been describing, not as an idea, but as a real thing that happened to them and came home changed for good. There aren't many. Only around 600 humans have ever left the planet and looked back at it from space. And when they did, something happened to a lot of them so consistent, so strange, that scientists gave it a name. They call it the overview effect. Here's what it is. You spend your whole life with Earth as the floor, the background, the unquestioned everything. And then you're up there, and suddenly the entire planet is a thing you can hide behind your thumb. Every war, every border, everyone who ever lived, every king and every beggar, every argument you've ever had, every worry that's ever kept you up, your whole life and everyone else's, all of human history, the entire stage for the whole show is one little blue marble hanging in a giant ocean of black. No lines drawn on it, dead silent. And astronaut after astronaut describes the same thing. Awe, this huge wave, not fear, not the bad kind of small, a sudden total clarity. One of them, looking back at Earth, basically said, you realize that little blue dot, that's home, that's everyone. Another talked about how the borders people kill each other over just aren't there. You look and there are no lines. We drew them. They were never real. They describe all the petty stuff we chase just falling away instantly. They come home different. Some of them tear up describing it decades later. And here's why this matters for you, sitting there on your couch with no rocket. The overview effect isn't really about being in space. It's about the change in scale. It's what happens when you zoom out far enough that the ego can't keep the story going anymore. And that's exactly what we've been doing this whole video, giving you the overview effect the slow way, from your chair. The grains of sand, the calendar, the dying stars, the forgotten emperor, the great-great-grandmother you can't name, the cold at the end of everything, all of it doing the same thing to you that looking down on the blue marble does to the astronauts. Pulling the camera back until that tiny, frantic, defended little self you walked in with just quietly loses its grip. And notice, this is important, what those astronauts did not come back saying. Not one of them floated up there, saw all of humanity shrunk to a dot, and came home going, well, nothing matters, it's all pointless, I'm switching everything off. That's not what happens. The exact opposite happens. They come back and they love harder. They care about the planet more, not less. They call their families. They talk about how insanely precious and rare and fragile the whole thing is. This warm, wet rock where, against all odds, something woke up. Seeing how small it all is didn't make them care less. It burned off everything that wasn't worth caring about and left the real stuff glowing. And that's the whole secret, right there, handed to you by the only people who've ever actually seen it with their own eyes. Zooming out isn't the road to despair. It's the road to the point. And now, standing here, we've hit the bottom. You're not the center of anything. You don't control the clock. You don't really own a single object. The people you love are borrowed. And even this self, this I you've defended your whole life like it's the crown jewels, doesn't hold together when you actually look at it. Just about every certainty you walked in with is gone. This is the floor. This is where the fall stops. And I need you to notice something strange that happens right here, at the bottom, in the dark, with nothing left to hold. Something loosens. Because here's what actually just happened, and almost nobody gets far enough down to feel it. All that suffering, the anxiety, the endless grabbing for more, the fear humming under everything you do, all of it was powered by one demand. You were demanding reality make you a promise it never agreed to. The promise that things would last. You wanted love to last forever. You wanted your body to stay young. You wanted your name to outlast the centuries. You wanted to keep the people, keep the moments, keep yourself. And reality never signed that contract. You did. You made it up, all by yourself, and then spent your life furious and scared that the universe wouldn't honor a deal it never made. And peace, real peace, the kind that isn't just distraction, starts the second you stop arguing with the one thing that was never up for negotiation. There's this old line that cuts straight to it. The fear of death only follows the person who still thinks they own their life. But you don't own your life. Nobody does. You're just passing through it. And that's not the insult it sounds like. That's the whole key. So let me put the fall back together for you, because on the way down it felt like losing everything. And it wasn't. It was the opposite. For nearly 14 billion years, the universe got along completely fine without you. Total darkness as far as you were concerned. And then, through a chain of flukes so unlikely it barely deserves the word possible, atoms cooked inside dying stars arranged themselves into something that could open its eyes and ask what it was. That's you. You are, no exaggeration, a piece of the universe that woke up. For one flicker, one blink, one impossibly short moment, a corner of the whole cosmos got to look around and know it was here. You didn't get put at the center of everything. You got handed something rarer. You got a ticket to watch it, just for a minute. And that changes the only question that actually matters. It was never, how do I make myself big enough to matter to the universe? The universe isn't grading you. It was never watching. The real question, the one waiting at the bottom of all this, is quieter and a lot harder. What are you going to do with the single borrowed minute where you got to be awake? Because when the ego finally stops screaming to be seen, something wonderful goes quiet with it. That exhausting need to prove yourself to a world that never asked for the proof. You stop racing the clock. You stop auditioning for strangers. You stop dragging around the impossible weight of trying to seem extraordinary. And what's left, when all of that falls off, is not despair. I promise you it's not. What's left is the plain, ridiculous, easy-to-miss miracle that you get to be here at all. That you get to taste coffee, feel the cold, laugh at something dumb, hold someone's hand. Get annoyed at traffic even, because getting annoyed at traffic means you're alive to be annoyed. None of it lasts. That was never the deal. And the second you stop needing it to last is the exact second you can finally, fully have it. The grain of sand was never meant to become the whole beach. It was just meant to catch the light for a second before the tide comes in. You're that grain. You always were. And catching the light, even for a second, even knowing the tide's coming, turns out to be the most anybody who ever lived has ever gotten, kings included. So the silence that was here before you were born is coming back after you're gone. That part's true, no way around it. But you're not in the silence yet. Right now, this second, you're the part that gets to hear it. Don't spend the whole song trying to make it last forever. Just listen to it while it plays.